Tonight on Garbage Time Fantasy Football, we hope that you ignore Joe's bullshit description. AJ Brown is a beast. It's time for garbage time.
The mashup everyone truly looks forward to, JJ.
It is. It's an efficient, well-oiled, high-functioning team here whenever Ryan and I collaborate. So yeah, we're here. Garbage Time Fantasy Football. How you doing tonight, Ryan?
Good. It took me a minute to go over that shot in our description there. AJ Brown, in fact, has not been robbing the Eagles. He actually has been a monster in fantasy this year, as well as just as a wide receiver in general.
Yeah, the wide receiver 9, the wide receiver 1. So again, not sure what Joe's talking about, but yeah. So with that being said, are you ready to get into some news?
Let's do it.
News updates.
All right, so let's get this rolling. First bit of news kind of was a bit of a surprise today. Mecole Hardman placed on IR for the Chiefs. He was really starting to ascend in that offense. Had a big role. They were using him all over the field. Strung together multiple good games in a row, and then he sustained an abdominal injury. I'm not sure if it's a hernia or what, but he's on IR. He's out at least 4 games. So how does this impact the Chiefs? Do you think Sky Moore is going to get a little more involved, or do you think Kadarius Toney is going to learn the playbook and assume that role?
It might be some recency bias, but Kadarius Toney fit in there pretty quickly. So, I mean, I just see them rolling with it, just letting him get more integrated. Travis Kelce on the podcast there with his brother was talking about how happy and excited they are to have Kadarius Toney on the team. So I almost think they're going to work to integrate him in pretty quickly.
Yeah, agreed. He's a dynamic playmaker. If he didn't have the character/personality issues tagged on him in the draft, he probably could have gone like top 10. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see who steps up for them, with Juju also not practicing with his concussion from that scary hit last week. So I really think they're going to, well, obviously they'll be out without Hardman, but I think they're going to be out without Juju too. So Tony's going to have to step up.
I like it.
Next piece, Chargers wide receivers may finally play. This is a huge game for him this week against the Chiefs in prime time. And the Chargers really need this game. So I really think both of them are going to play. If these guys suit up, what are you doing with Josh Palmer? Is he back on the bench? Flex
Yeah, I
worthy?
mean, if both of these guys suit up, yeah, I think I'm putting Palmer on the bench. You would think that if there was any game for them to come back, it would be this one, right? Like, this is borderline must win for them at this point. What are they? 5-4, I think, or something like that.
Yeah, 5-4, I believe.
So I mean, in that you can't lose much more and still expect to stay in the hunt there.
Not in the AFC. Yeah, so again, I think they're going to play. They've both been limited in practice this week. Wow, we have 4 comments all of a sudden.
What happened? I want to know.
Huh? It appears we've been infiltrated by bots.
Oh no!
There, yeah.
Wow.
This is a great watch.
I would never guess that a site called 69 Triple X would be a
fantasy football, but it's for everybody. Everybody can play.
You know what? They must just think that we get a lot of traffic on here, so
it must be what Joe's doing right now, and that's why it's popping up because he's connected to his phone. So
that's what it is. Guarantee.
Yeah, we don't know where he is. We can't say exactly where he is right now. So, all right, moving on. Matt Stafford.
We did actually touch on when we get to the game. You're good. Keep rolling.
Stafford is back. Cleared concussion protocol. He's practicing in fall, so he should be back this week. Though he's without Cooper Kupp, so that's going to be interesting. We can talk about that when we get to the Rams game. Next piece, the Bills game was moved. City of Buffalo is shutting down the thruway, and there's supposed to be what is it? Thunder snow? Is that what they call it?
Yeah, thunder snow. I didn't even know that was a thing, but
Thunder snow.
I love it.
So no game in Buffalo. I was really looking forward to that, as you can see from the thumbnail today. But this plays to the Bills' advantage, as Ryan and I were talking about.
Bills managers are punching air right now. If you got Josh Allen or Stephon Diggs, any of those guys, this is like best case scenario.
You're pumped. You're pumped. Texans making some moves, adding some offensive pieces. They claimed Benjamin off waivers from the Cardinals, and they got Amari Rodgers from the Packers. So a couple names. Obviously, we're not starting them, but if you're in a dynasty league, maybe stash them, and maybe if you're in a deeper league, see how Benjamin's going to be used. I don't see him taking many rush attempts from Dameon Pierce to start, but it'll be interesting to see how they use him.
Would you be interested in like as a handcuff at all? Because I mean, he was obviously very efficient when he had to fill in that lead role earlier on in the season.
Yeah, this move was confusing by the Cardinals, but I mean, yeah, a little bit. If you're in a deeper league, I don't know what this means for Rex Burkhead. I don't know if they want Benjamin to take that role and be the pass catcher. Obviously, he's younger and more explosive. So that'll be interesting to see who he takes reps from, Pierce or Burkhead. But next, Andy Dalton is remaining the Saints starter. For some reason, I don't
like it.
I just feel like the offense is, I don't know, maybe more explosive with Jameis Winston downfield.
It definitely is, and I think Kamara's value is awful as long as Dalton's. I mean, Kamara just doesn't get those opportunities if Dalton's in.
It's surprising. I don't get it. Speaking of staying the starter, Taylor Heineke is staying the starter. No surprise. He's very loved in the locker room and now by the national media as well. So I think he's going to finish the year as the starter for Washington.
He drinks Busch Lights. One meal.
Busch Lights. Cheers. Oh, this is a blue moon.
Bougie.
Next, last thing I have, Hollywood Brown. He's practicing. The beat reporters said he looked like he was healthy in practice. So what the hell is this Cardinals offense going to look like with Hollywood Brown, Rondale Moore, and DeAndre Hopkins? What's that target split going to look like?
Oof. I want it like if Hollywood Brown comes back and is truly 100% playing, you got to think it's Rondale Moore that suffers the most, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm thinking he falls way down. I think his DeAndre Hopkins and Hollywood will still get theirs, I think, but I think it definitely hurts Rondale Moore's value.
Yeah, I don't know. Hollywood was getting a lot of targets and receptions actually, and his volume there he wasn't necessarily catching those deep balls. He was getting flooded with targets, kind of like Rondale Moore is now. So I agree. I think this hurts more. Where would you rank Hollywood Brown? Would you start him this week?
I wouldn't start him this week. I mean, unless I absolutely had to, like if I was, but he would be like a risky flex almost, I think, because you don't know if he's going to be on a snap count or if he is truly going to play. It might be a situation where they say he's active and then he just never even steps on the field.
Right.
A Tee Higgins situation.
Yep. Agreed. Yeah, I think it's too risky to play him to start. Like, we got to see how this plays out and what that split looks like, and we also got to see who's playing quarterback.
That's
limited. So, all right. I think that is all I had for news.
Sweet. Joe's gonna be real sad we didn't do the news drop, but I'm okay with it.
We did the news drop.
Oh, did we? I
think so.
I zoned out.
Too many Busch Lights over there.
Yep. That's what happened.
All right, let's go. All right. Before I get into this, I don't want to let Joe down, so I should probably tell you where you can find us. You can find this podcast, obviously, if you're watching on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Iheartradio, TuneIn, Simplecast, pretty much anywhere you can find a podcast, Pandora. We're pretty much everywhere. So if you like what you hear, find us somewhere. Additionally, we have a contest going on right now. It is for this signed Miles Sanders card. All you have to do to enter is like this video, comment, subscribe, and then leave us an Apple review on obviously Apple Podcasts. And we will be doing the drawing at the end of the season out of Ron's crusty Giants hat. That does not come with a card. Lucky for you. Yeah. All right. So let's go ahead and get into the news here as shit pops up on my screen. I don't know what's going on, so I'm going to ignore it. First game I have on my list, we're going off ESPN, is actually the Bears game because they're marked as my favorite team. So we'll start with the Bears and Falcons.
Number one on mine too, actually. So it's not strictly your favoritism here.
All right. Works out. So is Justin Fields going to stay on fire in this seemingly good matchup versus the Falcons?
Yeah, I mean, there's no reason why you shouldn't. It's hard because like I almost feel bad for the guy how much he has to run, but that also is what gives him all of his fantasy value. But I mean, like, I don't know what else the dude could have done last week to win that game, and they still like the rest of the team just trying to keep him in it. But he's a solid QB1 for the rest of the season, in my opinion.
Agreed. I don't know if he's going to hit 100 yards in this one. In his press conference this week, he said, I believe the quote was, he's feeling a little worn down. His legs are really heavy after last game.
I bet.
So, yeah, he's really has the team on his back. But definitely I see QB1 numbers. But I really think with this Falcons pass defense, you could see him throw the ball a little more in this one. So I like Darnell Mooney as a wide receiver 2 or flex this week.
That was going to be one of my questions.
I really think Claypool could also be relevant. It's a big risk, but if you need a Hail Mary flyer, if someone's got frustrated with Claypool in your league and dropped him, I think this could be a game where he breaks out a little bit and has a big play. So
I also think that Sleeper is disrespecting Coach Matt a little bit. Back-to-back games at 20-plus points. They only have him projected at like 8 points. I think it's very possible that he beats that and could have another, top 5 tight end performance. I mean, he's ranked top 10 right now, and that's largely due to the past 2 weeks, but that team is hitting their stride. So at least as far as the offense goes.
Yeah, he got banged up at the end of last game. He got like a knee with one of the Lions safeties and came out at the end, but he was limited today. I think he's going to suit up. He's tough.
Worth noting, he has 3 straight games with 1 touchdown or more. So that alone gives you that solid tight end value if he can even get one.
Yeah. And just to update you on tonight's game, Christian Watson just caught another touchdown. I don't know if you have the game streaming.
I don't, but I almost threw a bet on him for anytime touchdown, but then I was like, Vegas don't know about the hype train. They're going to sabotage the game and make sure he doesn't get one. And then,
yep.
Well, I'm pretty sure the guy I'm facing still has him on his Tatsy squad, so I'm fine.
Oh, wow, that's bold.
That is bold. That's committed.
Activated him. All right. Also on the Bears side, Khalil Herbert went on IR at the beginning of this week. So David Montgomery, if they're going to tone Fields back a little bit and not try and put as much of the run game on his shoulders, I really think Montgomery could get a decent workload in this game and a good matchup. So I like Montgomery a lot this week, I think.
It's been a rough year for Montgomery owners, I think. But like you said, if they'd go more to a traditional game script where they don't have to rush with Fields as much, you could see that work. Do you know what Herbert's injury was?
It's a hip injury. They put him on IR, so he's out at least 4 weeks. So Montgomery could really get hot here. If you remember his 2020 season at the end of the year, the Bears leaned on him, and he had like a bunch of 100-yard touchdown weeks with multiple receptions. He was a league
Yeah,
winner that year. So
you're right.
um,
From week 12 to week 17, all 20+ points. Dude
yep,
was on fire.
yep. So just be on the lookout for that. I think
Oh,
they probably want to keep Herbert fresh for next year too, because he'll be back. I don't know if Montgomery will be or not,
well,
but
and just from like a head coaching perspective, you probably don't want your quarterback running 100, 150 yards per game.
yeah,
It's not ideal. It
even
looks
though it's
nice,
on
but
like
it's
12
not.
attempts.
Yeah. So I like it.
All right, on the other side, the Bears defense has been BAD, probably worse than the league the past couple of weeks. Obviously, letting Fields down, even though they put up ridiculous yards and numbers and points. The Bears are still losing games because their defense is so bad. So I really think this is an opportunity for a Kyle Pitts, Drake London to maybe bounce back. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I also have Marcus Mariota as a solid streaming option this week. I think you did see him put up QB1 numbers against a subpar Chicago defense as of late. Yeah, and listen, I am starting Kyle Pitts every week, partially to punish myself for drafting him, even though I had no faith in him this season. But this could be one of the games where you see him. You do see him break out a little bit. I think you get solid tight end numbers from him, and Drake London could definitely be a flex option, wide receiver 3.
Great. At running back, it's tricky. The Bears do go up the run, but I don't know who's going to get the carries, Algier or Patterson. I think it's going to be a split. I think you can maybe flex both of them if you need to.
It's hard. I think Patterson owners were really excited after Patterson, came back in that game versus the Chargers. Looked like he didn't skip a beat and then just crashed and burned against the Panthers. So
Yeah,
it seems like it might be a little bit of a roller coaster.
yeah. Patterson only had 5 carries, and Algier had 8, and Huntley had 5. So it was kind of a mess.
Yeah.
So it's a good matchup. If they pick one guy and stick with him, it'll be good. But proceed with caution. I think Patterson is probably the top option. He can catch a ball out of the backfield. Also, a little bit of a revenge game for him. So
Probably get the red zone work too. You would think.
Yep. All right. I got the Bears in this one. Who you got?
Yeah, I'm going Bears.
I don't know why.
Well, you guys hunt tough with the Lions, but I mean the Lions
we're up 14 points on the Lions in the fourth quarter.
The Lions still have a good offense. Their defense is just god awful. So, I mean, they're a good offense, and I don't think Atlanta is as strong of an offense. So I don't think they're going to be able to keep up.
The Bears averaging 33 points, 29 points, 32 points, 30 points. So they're putting up numbers. The defense has to show up one week, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
You guys chipped off a lot of talent.
Yep. Next game. Browns Bills 8-point favorites this game, as we mentioned earlier, moved to Detroit. So fantasy wise, I think this is good for both sides.
Yep. Nick Chubb and 6 foot of snow probably wouldn't have worked out great.
Well, they would have plowed it, but yeah, it definitely would have slowed him down a little bit. So yeah, on the Brown side, obviously starting Nick Chubb, probably Amari Cooper, though it's a tougher matchup. He plays well indoors.
I still like Peoples-Jones. I think he's a flex play.
Yeah, he led in targets, yards, and receptions for the Browns last week. So keep an eye on him. It also seems like David Njoku is going to come back. So what do you think about him? Would you trust him as your starting tight end?
I think so. I think with tight end, like I'm usually more willing to take a risk. I don't think Njoku is going to lose you the game. I mean, even after missing the last 2 weeks, he's still ranked tight end 15. So you could easily start to see him bounce right back. So yeah, I would play him.
Okay. And then for the Bills, it's not too complicated. You're starting Josh Allen, you're starting Devin Singletary, you're starting Stephon Diggs, and you're starting Gabe Davis, in my opinion. I think this could be a Gabe Davis game, playing fast inside Ford Field.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate. Isaiah McKenzie had a pretty solid start to the season, but he's pretty much fallen off. I think he's pretty much
I think he
unstartable.
did he have an illness?
Oh, you're
Is that
right.
what it was today?
He might have. Yes. Yep. Yeah, it was his status for Sunday is unclear anyway, so definitely don't bank on playing him.
Yep.
Not that I would anyway.
Yeah.
You're not concerned at all with Singletary? Like, do you think his work is gonna stay consistent? I mean, he had a strong week last week, but it's been pretty hit or miss with him.
I think he's an okay RB2 or flex play.
Okay.
He had what do you have? He had 14 touches last week. So, I mean, he's going to get the first crack at it.
The 2 touchdowns saved him because I mean he had 14 touches on 47 yards, only 1 reception for 0 yards. So pretty touchdown dependent last week. But I think he's definitely worth a flex play.
Yeah, it's tough because it did come up. McDermott did say they're going to get Hines going this week. So, just keep an eye on that. But I think if you have Singletary, you're probably going to end up playing him. So, I got the Bills in this one.
Yeah, I was planning on choosing Browns for the upset when it was going to be in Buffalo.
Ooh.
But now that it's switched to a dome, I'm going Buffalo.
All right. I like it. Next game. Eagles, fresh off an L from the Commanders on Monday night, headed to Indy to face Jeff Saturday's Colts. Eagles 7-point favorites. What do we think? Joe's title is Will A.J. Brown bounce back? What do you think?
Yes, A.J. Brown's going to be fine.
I like A.J. Brown too, especially at Lucas Oil inside, playing fast. He did roll his ankle last game and had to have it taped up, and he's been limited in practice, but it sounds like he's made it clear that he's going to play Sunday. So I'm not too worried about that.
Games under 50 yards, only 2.
Yeah, he's been good. So Stephon Gilmore's been playing good, but I think the Eagles are creative enough. They'll get Brown the ball in space and dial up some good plays. They need to bounce back.
Well, and I think that the L last week probably might have shown them even more that you have to get A.J. Brown involved.
Yeah, one catch is not going to do it. They really struggled to get the passing game going last week.
Yeah, and there was a lot of, there was just a lot of poor plays. There was that one fumble that would have put them like inside the 20, I think. The guy got up and tried running more and just fumbled it away.
Yep.
So, yeah, they beat themselves there.
And then obviously Dallas Goedert's hurt. He went on IR. So, I mean, people are going to have to step up in the pass game. I like Devontae Smith this week too. He led in targets, receptions, and got in last week, obviously, for the Eagles. So I think he's definitely playable.
Miles Sanders, a little bit of a down game last week. He's been relatively consistent most of the season. I mean, I think you're still starting him, as like an RB2.
That Commanders D-line is no joke. They've been stout versus run all year pretty much. Yeah. So, I like Sanders to bounce back. Colts side, Matt Ryan is going to start again for them. So what do you think about Michael Pittman? The Eagles have actually been pretty tough on outside receivers. Is this another Paris Campbell game? I know Joe loves him.
Yeah, I think they both could have decent games. Going against Philly, you're going to have to throw it. I think they're going to get behind quick and probably have to air it out. So you got to throw it to somebody. And why not Pittman? So I think Pittman will be a solid start. Paris Campbell could be as well. Like Pittman, I'd put by like wide receiver 2. Campbell maybe more of like a flex play.
I agree. And then Jonathan Taylor finally got on track right after you trade him. So do we think he's going to get going versus the Eagles? The Eagles, it's not really fantasy news, so I didn't bring it up. But the Eagles signed both Linval Joseph and Ndamukong Suh this week. So I don't know what kind of shape they're in and if they're going to play Sunday, but those are 2 massive D tackles that pride themselves on stopping the run.
Well, and I know Joe rips on us for saying this all the time because he's like, well, it's still counted or whatever. But I mean, most of Jonathan Taylor's production last week came off that run that he broke for 60-something yards. So, half of his production came off of that one blown up play. I don't think he's going to get it against Philadelphia. If you have him, you have to start him. But I'm putting him as like a lower RB2, I think.
Okay.
And game strip, they're gonna have to throw it. I don't think they're gonna be able to rely on the run too much.
All right.
You got him. Putting him back up. I think he keeps it going.
Who?
Do you think he keeps it going? Where do you have him?
I think he gets 100 in the touchdown.
Okay, so you're putting him RB1 range then.
Jeff Saturday was all about pounding the rock, so I think he's going to get a ton of touches again in this one.
Well, that's worth something if you can keep the ball away from the Eagles so they can't score. That's definitely a method.
All right. I picked the Eagles.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Eagles. They're gonna be angry. So I think they're gonna come out hard.
All right. Gonna come out hard like Triple X 6'9", who commented on this
Yes, with
episode right after the start.
about his sister. So weird.
All right. Next game, your Patriots are looking to feed the Jets a two-piece this season after beating them a couple weeks ago. You guys were there for the last one. This game in Foxborough, Patriots 3.5-point favorites. Why don't you just take the lead on this one and break it down?
Yeah, the hardest part's over. We went to the Jets home stadium and beat them there. So now they have to come to us and try to beat us there. It's with the injury to Breece Hall, it's being shown that Zach Wilson can't really win you the game. Threw 3 interceptions against us last time we played. So I definitely think that's going to be a struggle for him. New England is coming off a bye, just like the Jets are. Our offense is questionable, but our defense is still one of the top defenses in the league. So I think we're going to be able to handle them and get the other W. I don't think it's going to be a high scoring game. I think it's going to be just a defensive game, but I think we beat them.
All right. Yeah, if we're just leading off of the picks, I guess I picked the Patriots at home too. As far as starters, are you starting anyone on the Patriots besides Ramondre Stevenson?
Yeah, so definitely starting Ramondre Stevenson. Jacoby Myers also had a really strong game against the Jets when they played last. Had 9 receptions for 60 yards and a touchdown. So PPR league, Jacoby Myers should still be solid.
Yeah, Sauce Gardner stays on the outside usually. And is Devontae Parker going to play? I think he's been limited. I know he's questionable.
He was questionable. I don't think they've decided if he's going to play. Let me look really quick. He was limited with a knee. Yeah, it's still up in the air.
Okay.
I would like Patriots defense though. Again, we don't talk about defense as much, but Patriots.
Patriots. I believe they are the DST1 right now in the season, even with the bye week. So
against Zach Wilson, I would definitely
home versus Zach Wilson. I think that is a great matchup. Especially if somebody dropped them because they had a bye last week. So
yeah, it is worth noting too. On the Jets side, Garrett Wilson had his way with us a little bit. 6 receptions, 115 yards. So he might be a viable starter again if Zach Wilson tries to go back to that well. They don't have much of a run game, so they are going to have to throw it.
Yeah, losing Breece has been big. It'll be interesting to see what the target breakdown looks like with the news of Elijah Moore moving to the slot. If maybe they try and game plan him a little bit, or if that affects Wilson at all. Garrett Wilson's the only wide receiver I would start, obviously. We'll see if Corey Davis plays, but I think that's it. We both picked the Patriots. Did I miss anything in this one?
No, I think you got Ramondre Stevenson, Jacoby Myers, and Garrett Wilson as a flex play, probably.
I think that's it. Maybe Tyler Conklin,
That's true.
If you're in desperate need of a tight end, he's cooled down a little bit, but keep an eye on him. Next game, Stafford is back for the Rams as they go to New Orleans to face the Saints. Saints 3-point favorites. So what is Matt Stafford going to look like without Cooper Kupp?
That's the hard part. A part of me wants to say is just like slam Allen Robinson. He's a bona fide start, but like you really don't know. I mean, we've even seen in games where Cooper Kupp goes out for a little bit and Allen Robinson still doesn't get a look. So it's going to be interesting. I think I do still want to start Allen Robinson though. The Rams, as we've talked about, don't have much of a run game, so they're going to have to throw the ball a lot. And I mean, even if he gets 50% of what Cooper Kupp's target share was, it still should be pretty sustainable from a fantasy perspective.
Yep. And then I'm trying to look at the Saints injury report to see if Lattimore is practicing. I know he didn't practice yesterday.
What do you think about Tyler Higbee? Think he could get a
Yeah, I think it's a pretty good. I think he'd be a good play this week. Stafford, when he's not leaning on Kupp as a security blanket, it seems like Higbee's on the other guy. So I do like Higbee this week. And what's that? I can't even pronounce his last name.
Skrowinet or whatever.
Yes.
Yeah, I mentioned him to Joe on Monday because he kind of seemed to be the guy that if Cooper Kupp wasn't around, that's where he went. He's been pretty pedestrian of late. Did have 7 targets last game, but only hauled in 2 of them. So Cooper Kupp got injured early, right?
Yeah, pretty early.
So I mean,
First half.
seven targets is good, decent. But only getting two of those isn't ideal.
And then how about the guy you sniped for me on waivers, Van Jefferson?
Yeah, I love it. I
You
think
like Van Jefferson this week?
yes.
Okay.
My other thing, so we got trade deadlines coming up. Would you be trying to offload Alvin Kamara? Do you think what you can get out of him might outweigh what he's got the rest of the year if they are bent on continuing with Andy Dalton?
Probably. If I was in a dynasty league, I really, really would try and flip him for like a 1 because he's gonna get suspended. Well, we say that, but that video, if that's all there is, I don't know how he'd get suspended for 6 games, but I really think the decline is coming. So I would definitely try and offload Kamara, if you have him. What do you think?
No, I totally agree. I am all aboard the Kamara dump train. Although I was also all aboard the dump Jonathan Taylor train, and we see where that got me. So
Yeah, a lot of people were. Jeff Saturday just brought it out of him.
yeah, well, an old lineman himself whipped him into shape, maybe.
Yep. All right. So also for the Rams, I'm not starting any running backs. So I really think that's it. You can play Higbee and Skowronek and Van Jefferson are potential flex options if you're in a deeper league and or have a lot of bye week issues. So I'm playing them versus you with DK Metcalf on a bye. So we'll see what happens.
Hey,
And the Saints side, Kamara, if you have him, you're starting him. You're starting Olave. And I think that's it. I don't know. What do you think about Juwan Johnson? He seems to have a good rapport with Dalton.
yeah. He's like a sneaky one that not many people are thinking about. He's got 2 straight weeks of double digits. He's actually the tight end 11 in PPR leads out of nowhere. It's possible. I see this as such a boring game.
Yeah, I don't.
Like this should be a game that ends like 9-3.
I agree. That'll be interesting.
I just don't know if I have faith in him getting that red zone touchdown that you're gonna want.
Yeah, but I'm not crazy about this game. I did pick the Rams, however. I saw Andy Dalton last year for the Bears play against that Ram defense, and it wasn't good. So, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I will go the Rams. Because of Andy Dalton. Listen, if you can find a prop bet for a Rams defense touchdown, take it.
All right. All right. So moving on, we have the damn Lions on a 2-game win streak going to East Rutherford, New Jersey to face Ron's Giants. Giants 3-point favorites. Is Saquon Barkley gonna have another great game?
I think so. I mean, he's really bounced back this season. Detroit's defense definitely isn't great. So yeah, I think so. And most of the Giants' success has occurred when Saquon has been on his game.
Okay. Is there anyone else from the Giants that you're starting? We saw Darius Slayton have a big play, but not a lot of looks. And Daniel Jones,
Yeah,
he's
no.
been somewhat efficient, but I'm not trusting him.
Nope, Saquon. Saquon's pretty much the only interest I have.
Okay, I agree. And then on the other side, is St. Brown going to stay hot versus the Giants? I'm not St. Brown.
Ooh. Sure. I'll go with it. I don't know. I'm not gonna put him up to wide receiver 1, but probably wide receiver 2 numbers.
Okay, I like St. Brown. Forecast actually, though it's in Jersey, it's actually supposed to be like 40 and sunny. So I think this could be the Lions' offense could get rolling again.
Well, the biggest question, in you being a big DeAndre Swift guy, what are you foreseeing happening with that? Like, is Swift coming back healthy? What does that do to Williams right now? It's hard being an owner of either of them.
Yeah, I mean, if you're playing Williams, if you have him, he's getting the goal line carries. He's getting a lot of work every game. He's on pace for 1,000 yards. So, yeah, I'm playing Jamal Williams. Swift, I'm playing him if you have him. His injury designation, I believe, has already been pulled. So he's going to play again in this one. He's so talented. I just don't understand if he's just not sucking it up or what the deal is.
Well, and it seems like even like when he's been considered like healthy, it just hasn't been working out. I mean, his against Miami only 1.2 yards per carry. Green Bay, he only had 2 carries. Against Chicago, 1 yard per carry with 6 attempts.
Yep.
It's just not working out well.
They need to just play him a few drives in a row and let him get rolling. And they're not doing it because they're in love with Jamal Williams. So
yeah, I don't think he's a great committee guy. Like, I don't think he's one that could come in for a couple snaps and like do the same, do what you need. I think he needs to kind of get a hot streak going. And I just don't know if he's going to get the opportunity to do that with Jamal Williams there.
And he needs to be able to hold up. So the window on DJ Chark has opened to potentially return from IR. I'm not touching him. Any interest in DJ Chark?
Nope.
All right, so we got St. Brown, 2 running backs, Williams and Swift. And then on the other side, we got Barkley. The Jameson Williams watch, still waiting on that.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to rush him back. I don't think there's any reason to really at this point, the way the season's gone.
Yep.
There's not much motivation there.
Agreed. I picked the Giants.
Ooh. I'm going to go Detroit.
All right. The upset special. Ron Harbor. Well,
I have to check out 1 minute.
I hear the dog whining. Priorities. All right. Speaking of dogs, the Panthers are 13-point dogs to the Ravens in Baltimore. So can you still hear me? Are you putting your headset on?
No, I can hear you. All
right. Yeah, Ravens 13-point dogs to the Ravens in Baltimore. So I don't know who's going to play for the Ravens. I think Mark Andrews is going to be back. So you're starting Lamar Jackson, you're starting Andrews if he plays. What do you think of Devin Duvernay, who was a colossal disappointment in the last game?
Yeah, yeah, the Mark Andrews thing is tough because I mean, if you have him, you're obviously going to start him. It's just hoping that he actually plays. Devin Duvernay. Let me see where he's at.
He had one catch for 5 yards last week.
Yeah, and really, I mean, even going back, he had the one big week against the Jets, then didn't do a ton. I mean, he's pretty pedestrian numbers. Didn't do great against the Giants. Didn't do like other than Tampa. I mean, he's had like 4 straight weeks of nothing great. I'm not starting him.
Yeah, I'd try and avoid it as well. So I'm starting Lamar and Andrews. That's really all I'm interested in. Obviously, likely if Andrews isn't playing, but that's really it for the Ravens. Well, I guess. Sorry, that's just talking about pass catchers.
Do you think Gus Edwards comes back this week?
I don't know. He's limited. Him and Kenyon Drake. I wouldn't play Gus Edwards. I don't think I would play Kenyon Drake if you needed to. I'm not excited about it, but you can. Yeah, and then on the other side, speaking of running back, Deontay Foreman, do you think he stays hot after having a good game against the Ravens or Falcons? No.
It's annoying because like I sniped Hubbard and then Foreman came back and Hubbard just kind of trashed and burned. I don't know. I feel like I don't trust either of them because it's almost like you got to flip a coin to see who they're gonna roll with that week.
All right, I think you can play Foreman. I think he's fringe RB2. I think he's going to get most of the work in this one.
I mean, he had 31 attempts last week. That's insane.
Rain game. What's the weather for Baltimore? I feel like it's supposed to be kind of shitty. Maybe I'm wrong. No, it's similar forecast to the Giants game. Yeah, 37 and sunny. So, I mean, I think he'll get 18 to 20 touches.
I've changed my mind. So Hubbard, I think, is a definite bench. Don't start him anywhere. Foreman, if they're using him that much, you'd probably go like RB2.
Okay, I agree. And then what about DJ Moore with Mayfield? He has not been able to get much going.
Mayfield starting is so annoying. And he didn't even the last 2 weeks he hasn't been great either. Had a huge game against Atlanta, and then the last 2 weeks is kind of petered out. He has led the team in targets, but it just hasn't done much for him. I'm looking at other options. If you're desperate because of bye weeks or whatever, then you got to do it. But I wouldn't love it.
Yeah, if you have DJ Moore, you're probably gonna play him, but it's been a tough year for him. He's been one of the biggest busts. It's unfortunate. So Carolina, you're starting Foreman and DJ Moore, and then for the Ravens, Kenny and Drake if you need to. Lamar Jackson, Mark Andrews. I picked the Ravens in this one.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Ravens as well.
All right. Next game, the Commanders coming off the biggest win of their season, beating the undefeated Eagles, going to Houston, play the Texans. Commanders 3-point favorites. What is Heineke gonna do in this one? Is he gonna get these wide receivers rolling? McLaurin?
Oof. It's funny that like Heineke didn't have that great of a game last week, but
Yeah, he didn't.
They got the W, so they just loved it. McLaurin did have a solid game though. So I mean, so clearly that rapport has been established. Had 8 receptions last week. So I think you can start McLaurin. And that was against a pretty strong Philly defense.
Yeah, I think you're definitely playing him.
I don't think I'm playing Heineke though.
Yeah. Maybe a super flex, but
maybe. Especially if you can if you have Terry McLaurin, maybe you can stack or something, but
Yep. And then Washington's running backs. Brian Robinson had over 25 carries last game, got into the end zone. This is a very vulnerable Texans defense against a run. They've been gashed all season. So I do think Brian Robinson is startable, as is Antonio Gibson. What do you think?
Yeah, it's a little risky just because, I mean, everyone thought that Robinson was going to become the guy and Antonio Gibson was just going to fade to the back. And then Gibson came back onto the scene. You could probably start both. I think if you had to pick between the two, I don't know why you would have to, but I think I would lean more Antonio Gibson.
Okay. See, what sucks is I think McKissick is going to come back this week. So I would love if he was inactive, but I feel like he's going to steal touches. So
It's just going to be a three-headed monster.
yeah, we'll see. I really hope to keep Gibson in the role he's been in, but and then the Texan side, what are you doing with Brandon Cooks? You playing him? Had a touchdown taken out by a penalty, but
Yeah, I
he
mean,
had a pretty pedestrian game
I
last week.
and there's some drama going on there.
Yeah, stripped from his captains.
I think I am still though. Probably more of as like a flex play. Still
Okay.
had 7 targets last week, so the targets were there. Only got 4 of them, like you said, had a touchdown called back. So I think I'm still starting him.
Okay. I probably would too in the flex. Damian Pierce, you're starting if you have. Let's see if we can get this guy in the end zone.
Please.
He needs a touchdown. Tough matchup versus Commanders. Their D line, as I mentioned earlier, has been pretty nasty. So we'll see, and we'll see what they do with Eno Benjamin.
Still mad I offered you a first to be able to take your pick that you used on Damian Pierce, and you shut me down.
You offered me? Yeah, you offered me a 24 first,
23 first.
23 first for my second round pick.
Yep.
And I picked Pierce, and then I traded him to Joe.
I think you lost. I don't know. What'd you get from Joe?
Oh, what was that trade? That was the trade where I got Tee Higgins, who I traded to you for DJ Moore and Trevor Lawrence, and then I flipped Trevor Lawrence for Justin Herbert, and then I flipped Justin Herbert for Saquon Barkley, Elijah Moore, a bunch of picks, and Zach
Too hard
Wilson.
to trace whether you won that or not.
I know it's long gone, so I don't know.
Too far down the line.
It is. Having a good year. Hopefully they can win it. So yeah, for the Texans, you're starting Cooks as a flex, and then Pierce. Anybody else? Any interest in Nico Collins?
I was just about to mention him. So he had a full practice today. He was dealing with a little bit of a groin injury. Had a solid game last week. Oof, but whether I think you could probably play him in your flats if you had to.
I agree. He's fringe flex worthy. I think he's finally getting healthy. So, Commanders' corners don't scare you, but they just got to keep the pass rush off. General Mills. I picked the Commanders.
I'm gonna go Houston. Houston's so scrappy. Like
All right.
they're always in on every game. So I'll roll with Houston.
All right. He's got the Texans. Next game, let's ride. Raiders at Broncos. Broncos 2.5-point favorites. Will the Raiders rebound after Crybaby Carr's debacle last week?
They have just been bad. It's also worth noting Devontae Adams was limited in practice today. Dealing with an abdomen situation.
Oh boy.
They're being kind of coy about it. There's not a ton of information on it. He's been limited for consecutive days now. So that'll be interesting to see how that shapes out. I mean, if he's playing, you start him.
Yes, 100%.
Carr is a little bit tougher. I would say super flex leads probably 2v2.
Yeah, definitely not playing him in a single QB league in
No.
Denver versus that defense the way they've been playing.
And probably Josh Jacobs and Devontae Adams. It's probably it.
Yeah, Matt Collins was a huge letdown last week. Foster Moreau, I guess,
Oh,
if you need a
yeah.
tight end.
If you're streaming tight ends, if you were a Waller owner that just lost Waller for probably this season, Foster Moreau wouldn't be a bad pickup.
Agreed. You can play him. On the Broncos side, I'm not starting any of the running backs. Russell Wilson has 7 touchdown passes this year. He's on the waiver wire in most of the leagues I'm in. Nobody wants anything to do with him.
Yeah, 100%.
So I'm not starting Russell Wilson. I really can't leave this team. And then wide receivers, I don't believe Jerry Jeudy has practiced, so I think you can start Cortland Sutton.
I think Sutton might be the only one that.
Sutton.
I mean, Dolchich didn't do great.
Yeah, he had a bad game. I think he could bounce back here. So if you're weak at tight end, I wouldn't mind Dolchich.
Yeah, yeah. I'm a big fan of him, especially in dynasty leagues. So you could probably start. So I would say Sutton on the fence with Dolchich. It's probably it, right? Melvin Gordon's been pretty eh.
Yeah, I don't have any interest in the Broncos' terrible situation at running back.
So I mean that's pretty much all I would go with. And I think the Raiders are just going to crush them because Denver's not good.
Yeah, I got the Raiders rebounding. I don't know if that's a mistake, but especially if they don't have Judy. Hamler got hurt. What's that?
What was the spread?
I think it's 2.5 for Denver. Yeah, Denver is 2.5 point favorites.
Denver's the favorite.
Yeah.
Oh, I would hammer that.
Yeah, they've just been so bad. I guess the defense is why they're favorite, but
keeping them in it, but
yeah, so I'll go Raiders. Next game, another potential good game.
This one's interesting.
Cowboys and Vikings, 2 good offenses. Vikings obviously were in that thrilling game with the Bills last week. So like we talked about earlier, I don't even know if we brought it up. I think I actually missed that. Zeke, I think, is going to play this week.
He was limited at practice today, but I mean, a lot of signs are pointing towards thumbs up on Zeke.
Yeah, another huge game for the Cowboys, coming off that loss to the Packers. So I do think he's going to play as well. So what does that do to Tony Pollard if Zeke plays? You still playing him?
Definitely hurts his value. But I still think he's playable because I don't see Zeke coming back 100%. So Pollard will still get a lot of work. Will probably still be involved in the pass catching game. It just sucks because if Zeke wasn't in the picture, then I think Pollard is like a RB1.
Yeah, he's been a monster the 2 games without him.
And so, yeah, you could still start Tony Pollard, probably low end RB2 flats.
Agreed.
Zeke, I wouldn't even say RB2 range. Like he just, even when he was healthy, it
flop
wasn't
into the end zone.
Yeah.
Yeah, he really needs to hang it up.
CeeDee Lamb, you're starting, obviously.
Yep.
Any interest in Gallup?
No, I don't think you can trust him with what he's done lately.
Agreed. Schultz, top 5 tight end, probably.
Yep, definitely playing Dalton Schultz. Other side, Jefferson. Keep an eye on Justin Jefferson. He's got a toe injury. He's questionable. I think he's been limited in practice. So, just keep an eye on that. I think he's going to play, but hopefully it doesn't slow him down. He's been on a tear, and having a lot of leagues. So, I really hope that it's not anything serious.
Yeah. Yep. Agreed. So Jefferson, if he's playing, start him for sure. It's an afternoon game, so have him in your flats if you can. Dalvin Cook, you're starting him.
Yep, 100% starting Dalvin Cook. What do you think about Thielen?
Ooh. I don't think so.
I don't think I can play him at this point, especially with Hopkinson there now, who had 10 targets last game.
Yeah, I don't think so. And that's actually a good point too. Hawkinson. He's come in and kind of did what they said he would. Has made an immediate impact. Kind of got rid. I mean, he's a startable tight end in my opinion. Ranked number 5 in PPR leads right now.
Yep, definitely playing Hopkinson. So Hawkinson, Jefferson, Dalvin Cook. I think that in Cousins you can play.
Yeah, especially in super flex leagues.
Yeah, I don't think he's very fringe QB1, but super flex he's definitely QB2. I think that's it, and I picked the Cowboys to bounce back in this one because I'm tired of the Vikings' luck.
Yeah, yeah. This is hard.
I'm surprised the Cowboys are actually 1.5-point favorites in Minnesota. That's very surprising to me. That kind of scares me about Jefferson. Like, what is Vegas now? But
Yeah, I'll go Dallas.
all right. Next game, these guys are so shitty. They got kicked out of the Sunday night game. Well, the Steelers are shitty. So Bengals
that
at
really what
Steelers. Yeah, they got the Chiefs and Chargers got flexed into Sunday night, and the Bengals and Steelers got moved to the afternoon. So, yeah, the Bengals 4-point favorites in Pittsburgh. So
Did you say 4?
4-point favorites, yeah.
How?
I guess TJ Watt coming back. Steelers defense played pretty good last week with him, though they were playing the Saints, but I guess that's a difference. And then no Jamar Chase for the Bengals. He's not going to play this week. So I guess that brings it closer. And the Bengals are wearing their white striped jerseys this week. So one of the cooler jerseys in the league. So Bengals side, playing Burrow, playing Higgins, you're playing Mixon.
Yep.
You can flex Boyd if you need to. But he's kind of boom and bust.
Yeah.
And then the Steelers side, what are you doing with Najee? He's has some knee discomfort now. I actually, in the league, I felt like a genius last week. I benched Najee Harris for Deontay Foreman.
Bench him if you can't. Like, honestly, at this point, you could probably almost get whatever's on the waiver wire that will perform better than what Najee has been doing lately.
He had, yeah, I mean, he had 99 yards rushing, but he was not. Now my dogs are whining. He was not very involved in the pass game, which you don't like. So, yeah, it's a tough spot with Najee. I think there's running backs like Deontay Foreman that you can play over him. Let me ask you this: Cordero Patterson or Najee Harris?
Ooh. I think Cordell. At least Cordell, there's the hope of getting a touchdown.
Yeah, it's been bad. What do you think about George Pickens and Deontay Johnson for the Steelers?
Ooh. I think flex play, maybe. I think I'd lean more Pickens.
Agreed. I think both are viable flex options or wide receiver threes. I think that's really all I have to say about this game. I got the Bengals winning.
Yeah, I got the Bengals getting this one.
I hope Jamar Chase comes back next week.
That would be nice.
All right, next game: Chiefs at Chargers. Chiefs 5-point favorites. The game is in LA. So we kind of touched about Kadarius Toney at the top, but where are you ranking him? Would you play him? Would you trust him in the flex in this one?
Yeah, I think I'd flex play him.
Okay. So Kadarius Toney, I think it's a little risky, but
Risky.
He's so explosive. The Chargers defense has been giving up a decent bit through the air. Ayuk had his way with the Chargers secondary last week. So I agree. I like Toney a little bit. You're obviously playing Mahomes and Kelsey. What do you think about MVS? Got in last week.
Yeah, I'd say flex play. And I think I might lean MVS over to Darius Tony.
Really?
I think so.
Okay. Both have big play potential, so yeah, I think both are viable as a flex if you need to. I agree. And then on the Charger side, a lot of question marks. So obviously Eckler and Herbert you're playing, but Williams and Allen, I mean, if they come back, you got to play them, right?
Yeah, you almost have to.
And if both are back, I'm benching Josh Palmer. What about you?
Yep, benching him.
All right. What about Gerald Everett? I know he's banged up right now with, I believe, a groin injury. Would you play him if he's active? He's kind of slowed down since the start of the season.
Yeah, he came off pretty hot there. I don't think so. I think I'm staying
Okay.
away from it.
Yeah, I don't. It's tough. It's a night game. Groin injuries are always tough. So they can get re-aggravated. I would look for other options. Um, so I think that's it. I got the Chiefs.
Yeah, I'm going Chiefs here.
All right. And last game, Monday night, another game with a ton of question marks. 49ers at Cardinals,
Yeah.
49ers 8-point favorites. We don't know who's playing QB for the Cardinals yet. It seems like Kyler's going to come back this week. I saw some clips of him running at practice and warming up. Um, I'm going to guess he plays in this one. But if you have Kyler, I would have a contingency plan, like add McCoy for a lower level player on your team if you haven't already.
Yeah, just because if Kyler does sit, it being a Monday night game, if he doesn't play, your week is gonna be shot.
Yep. Continuing on the Cardinal side, you're playing James Conner, who got 96% of the snaps last week, and now Benjamin's gone. I'm playing DeAndre Hopkins, obviously, and then the next wide receiver, the Hollywood Brown. We both kind of said we would sit him, kind of to A, we don't know if he's going to be active, and B, we want to see what the split looks like with Rondell Moore and Hopkins.
You don't know if he's gonna be on a snap count or what's gonna happen, so I would
Yeah.
definitely wait and see. Any interest in Trey McBride at all? He doesn't seem to slide right into the Zach Ertz role.
I think you can.
Okay.
Like, I would play him over. I think I would play him over Gerald Everett. That would be terrible, but
Really?
let's see this question. Joe is in here as well. Terrell says Sutton or Tony PPR, and Joe says Kadarius Tony.
What? What? I mean, I get that Russell Wilson's bad, but I mean Sutton's gonna be it.
I think I would go Sutton as well. Sutton is safer. I'll say that Sutton is safer. If you're projected to win, I would play Sutton. If you're a big dog and you need somebody to just explode, I would try Tony. But I think the safer play is Sutton.
That's fair.
Waiting for my Madden update. Why haven't you played it yet, Joe? To the heckling fan, we have a Madden season going, and Ryan and Joe are going very slowly. That's frustrating.
Hey, I've just been waiting for Joe. I can play at the drop of a hat. I guess
All right.
didn't want to. Oh. Wait, how? Joe, what's the point of having Verizon FiOS if you're still waiting at 9:38 for your Madden to load? When did you sign on?
Turned it on. Yeah, he probably just turned it on. We've had him. I feel like he's been in here the whole time. And now he had to jump in. And then on the 49ers side, you're playing Debo if you have him. Hopefully he can rebound. He's been really bad lately.
Yeah.
Ayuk has been pretty hot, so I'm playing Ayuk for sure.
Yep. Kittle coming off a bad game. You're hoping he bounce back. I think you play him.
It's a good matchup.
Or He's been strong since his return. But yeah, I think you play him.
Okay.
And
And
actually,
then
I wanted to you may have mentioned it briefly. As far as KC goes, their running back situation. You have any interest in either of them?
yeah, we didn't really talk about Kansas City's run game.
You got Pacheco, CH has pretty much disappeared.
No, he's not even touching the ball. You can play Pacheco or McKinnon if you need to. I have to play McKinnon in one of my dynasty leagues because I have Brees Hall, Javonte Williams, and Khalil Herbert. All three are on IR right now.
That's great.
So I'm playing McKinnon this week, and then I have Ken Walker, and he's on a bye. So, yeah. So I think you can play McKinnon and Pacheco. Chargers run defense doesn't really scare you. So if you need a flyer on an RB2 or desperate flex, I think you can play them if you need to. But I'm not super excited. But yeah. And then back to the Niners, CMC, you're playing 100%. And then what do you think about Elijah Mitchell?
I don't hate it. I mean, 18 carries last week. I think the 49ers aren't expecting McCaffrey to be their bell cow. I definitely think they're going to make sure that there's someone else working in there with him.
Yeah.
Getting the carries. So I definitely think there's work there for Elijah Mitchell. So I think he's like a flex play.
Agreed. Yeah. Shannon said he wants like a 50-50 split almost. So I think he's definitely going to get his.
Well, and it's probably a smart move. McCaffrey's shown that he's not durable enough to be your only running back that you use for a majority of the game. So, yeah, I like it.
All right. I picked the 49ers.
Yeah, I'll go 49ers here as well. Cardinals they're not coming together this season.
Yeah, it's been bad. Have you been watching Hard Knocks?
No.
I have not watched it either.
Are they on Hard Knocks this year?
The mid-season one on HBO.
I didn't know there was one. I still gotta watch the Lions one. I haven't even watched that.
Yeah, I watched the beginning of the year. I didn't watch the Colts mid-season one last year either, but
I'll have to check that out. It's probably kind of a downer
yeah, I'm not super excited about it.
season.
All right, that's all the games. To the viewers, we do have this contest going on for a signed Miles Sanders card. So if you're in here, please give us a like, comment on the video, subscribe, and then if you leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, your name is thrown into the ring to potentially win the card. It'll be drawn out of Ron, one of our other hosts, Krusty Giants hat. So
yes, it was last wash when Daniel Jones threw for more than 10 touchdowns.
That's a long time ago. All right. And then obviously, if you like what you hear here, we are on YouTube. Pretty much anywhere you can get a podcast: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Simplecast, Pandora, Iheartradio. We're pretty much everywhere. So give us some love. We appreciate you. Anything else, Ryan? Did I miss anything?
No, crushed it. You did much better than me. Joe put me on the spot with that on Monday, and I crashed and burned. So, great job.
Well, happens to the best of us. Take care, guys. Good luck this week. And if you have any questions, hit me on Twitter under my ugly face or on our Garbage Time FF Instagram. I think that's our Instagram. All right. Peace.